There are monsters under the ground. They can hear everything. They can also swallow people whole. And yet, somehow, this movie still manages to feel like a cozy hangout comedy. Tremors is what you get when a creature feature is perfectly executed. It's comedy, horror, western, disaster movie, and two lovable idiots trying to avoid responsibilities all rolled into one dusty masterpiece. Welcome back to Carly's Creepy Corner, where we dig up horror movies that are wild, weird, and sometimes deeply stupid in the best way. I am so excited to talk about arguably one of the best creature feature movies ever made, and that is none other than Tremors, the 1990 American Western horror comedy film directed by Ron Underwood in his feature directorial debut. Screenplay by S.S. Wilson and Brent Maddock, adapted from a story credited to Wilson, Maddock, and director Underwood. They set out to create a modernized variation on 1950s monster films. The film would choose to focus on two ordinary men instead of the standard lawman, soldier, or scientist which had been more commonly used in the genre. Tremors stars Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward, Finn Carter, Michael Gross, Victor Wong, and country singer Reba McEntire, making her big screen debut. The setup is simple. A tiny Nevada desert town starts getting picked off by giant, prehistoric, underground worm monsters called graboids. That's it. That's the movie. There's no ancient prophecy, no military experiment, no CGI skybeam opening a portal to another dimension. Just huge dirt tubes with muscular tentacle tongues ruining everyone's day, and it easily becomes one of the most endlessly rewatchable horror movies ever made. Why does this movie work? Most monster movies have completely forgettable characters, or worse, characters you can't wait to get eaten. Tremors does the near impossible. Pretty much every character is likable in some way. Val and Earl feel like real best friends. They bicker back and forth like exhausted construction workers who've shared one brain cell for 20 years. Their chemistry carries the whole movie. The characters are not stupid, at least not the core four that we're primarily following. This is a rare horror movie where people notice patterns, adapt, make plans, and actually learn from mistakes. The monsters are attracted to sound? Cool. Everyone starts climbing on boulders to escape the ground. Need transportation? Pole vault from boulder to boulder through the desert. Got guns and homemade pipe bombs? Congratulations, Burt Gummer has been emotionally preparing for this very moment since birth. And speaking of Burt Gummer, he steals the entire movie. The first time you watch the movie, Val and Earl are the stars. The second time, you realize Burt Gummer is the main event. Michael Gross plays Burt with complete sincerity, and that just makes him even funnier. He's basically what would happen if survivalist paranoia evolved into a superpower, and the movie never mocks him too hard because when the graboids attack, Burt is ready. This man had enough firearms to invade a small town, and of course, the basement scene is still one of the greatest crowd pleasing moments in horror history. The graboid crashes through the wall, and Burt responds like the Doomslayer being asked to pay taxes. The practical effects still hold up shockingly well, and that's because they're physical. The graboids have actual weight. They tear through the ground like angry subway trains. Every attack feels tactile and dangerous. CGI creatures often feel floaty. The graboids feel heavy. The filmmakers understood a basic rule that a lot of modern monster movies forget. Don't show everything immediately. It's the mystery and unknown that makes the creatures scarier. By the time a full graboid is revealed, the movie has already built tension around what they can do. Also, just look at that creature design. It's freaking awesome. Giant worms with snake tongues coming out of their mouths feels like something a 12-year-old would draw in math class. And I mean that as the highest compliment imaginable. The scares overall are very effective, but there were two specific scenes that always freaked me out as a child. The first one is when the doctor is violently pulled underground and then his wife is consumed when you see the lights beaming up towards the night sky from the station wagon disappearing as it's being dragged underground. The second one is when Val and Earl discover Fred's severed head under his hat. You could say a few wide shots and miniature effects look a little dated now, but I think that just adds to the earnestness and overall charm of the movie. Tremors exists somewhere in that sweet spot where practical effects and early visual tricks create a tangible atmosphere that many modern films lack. This movie wastes no time. Once the deaths start, the movie just goes. Every scene introduces some new obstacle. Can't walk on the ground, can't ride a horse, can't drive safely, can't make a noise. Resources are running out. And on top of all of this, the graboids learn new tricks by continuously adapting throughout the movie. They're also smart, just like our main characters. The script constantly escalates, and because the movie is a tight 96 minutes, there's really no filler. I feel like modern streaming movies would try to turn this into a 10-episode series with a government conspiracy, trauma metaphors, and at least one scene where a character whispers, super dramatically, "Maybe the real monster is mankind." Once the novelty wears off, most monster movies fade because there's nothing underneath. But Tremors continues to endure because it nails the fundamentals: great pacing, memorable characters, a smart screenplay, solid practical effects, and a perfect balance of horror and comedy, basically making it comfort food horror. It's the kind of movie you throw on late at night, fully intending to watch only 20 minutes, and then before you know it, you're fully invested in whether a refrigerator can stop an underground death worm. Spoiler alert, it can't. Tremors is arguably one of the best creature features ever made. It's funny without being parody, it's scary without being mean spirited. But most of all, it understands something most modern movies seem to have forgotten. And that is that simple concepts executed well will always beat bloated spectacle. Also, Burt Gummer remains one of horror cinema's strongest proponents of 2A. But what about you guys? What's your favorite Tremors sequel? Drop your favorite graboid moment in the comments, and if you enjoyed this retro review, subscribe for more horror deep dives, cult classics, and questionable creature features here in Carly's Creepy Corner.
Broke into the wrong goddamn rec room, didn't you, you bastard?